You were taught to be safe, gentle, predictable, but no one told you what actually draws her in, what stirs her mind at night, what her body surrenders to even when her mind resists. This video will dismantle every lie about attraction and awaken the truth. She tells you she wants kindness, patience, and a man who listens. And yet, when he shows up, the man who texts back, who plans dates, who supports her dreams, he gets left behind, ignored, ghosted, forgotten. Why? Because her deepest desire isn't for comfort. It's for intensity, for edge, for danger, not physical, but psychological. The man she can't resist isn't the one who gives her peace. He's the one who makes her feel like she could be destroyed, but chooses not to. He's the one whose energy wraps around her like a force field, dark, commanding, still. He's the man with dark sexual power. This isn't about being cruel. It's about being unshakable. This isn't about manipulation. It's about mastery. She craves the man who doesn't flinch, who doesn't chase, who doesn't fold. Not because he's heartless, but because he's whole. That energy is rare, and she can feel it the moment he enters the room. Number 1, what she feels that you don't see. Attraction isn't logical. Attraction has nothing to do with fairness. It's not about how much you do. It's not about effort. It's not about your resume, your job, or your intentions. Attraction is emotional, primitive, rooted in the unconscious. And for women, that means being drawn to strength. Not the loud kind, but the kind that doesn't need her approval. Most men fail because they try to reason with her instincts. They ask, why did she leave? Why doesn't she like the guy who treats her best? Because they assume attraction is a choice. It's not. It's a response. Her body responds before her mind catches up, and her emotions follow the experience of who you are, not what you do. She feels your weakness before you say a word. She knows when you need her. She senses when you seek approval, and the moment she feels that, she disconnects. Because you've stepped out of your masculine polarity and into emotional dependence. The man with dark sexual energy doesn't need her to feel strong. He already is. His power doesn't chase, it attracts. He's not reckless, but he's not safe either. He walks with purpose, not permission. And his silence speaks louder than 1,000 nice texts. That's what she feels. That's what makes her stare at the man across the room who hasn't even looked at her yet. That's what keeps her coming back to the man she swore she'd leave. It's not what he does. It's what his energy tells her. I don't need you. But if I choose you, you'll never forget me. Number 2, the Playboy mindset. Power without possession. The man she can't forget is the one who never tried to own her. He didn't need to label it, lock it down, or force a future. He never begged, never asked where it was going. He didn't press for answers. And yet, his presence lingered in her soul like a shadow. Why? Because he held the Playboy mindset, a philosophy rooted in internal freedom, emotional strength, and the art of holding space without needing to control it. The modern world has taught men that power comes from pursuit, that if you just work harder, text faster, give more, show up constantly, she will reward your devotion. But this strategy is flawed. Women don't emotionally bond through effort. They bond through intensity. And intensity doesn't come from possession. It comes from emotional polarity. The Playboy mindset isn't about sleeping around. It's not about shallow games or cheap pleasure. It's about becoming the man who creates a feeling of emotional danger. A man who is present, passionate, and powerful, but never dependent. He doesn't chase. He doesn't perform. He doesn't need a title to feel valid, because his identity isn't built on her approval. It's built on his discipline, vision, and sexual restraint. Yes, restraint. Because the most powerful man isn't the one who takes what he can. It's the one who knows he could, but doesn't. The one who sees her beauty, feels the pull, recognizes the tension, and stays rooted in his frame. This creates a kind of heat that no good guy energy ever could. It's the fire of presence without pursuit, of magnetism without pressure. To become this man, you must stop assigning your worth to a woman's response. You must stop seeing attention as a reward. The Playboy doesn't crave reaction. He commands reality. He moves through life as if he's already enough. And that belief becomes prophecy. Women feel it. The way he walks, the way he looks at them without needing them, the way he disappears, not to punish, but because his mission is bigger than being liked. She can't trap this man with validation games. She can't lure him with compliments. She can't control him with silence. Because he doesn't flinch, he doesn't fold, he doesn't overextend, he simply watches. And because of that, she begins to question herself in his presence, not out of fear, but out of intrigue. Because she realizes, this man cannot be moved. This man is already full. The Playboy mindset is not arrogance, it's awareness. You're aware that most men bend. Most men give too fast. Most men seek emotional security from women, and in that seeking, they lose all tension, all mystery, all power. Number 3, the polarity of masculine darkness. Why she's drawn to what terrifies her. There's a truth about feminine desire that most men never understand because it lies outside of logic. She is not drawn to comfort. She is not loyal to routine. She does not fall for the safest man. She is pulled irresistibly towards something much more primal, something far deeper than her surface choices. She is drawn to danger, not violence, not harm, but emotional risk. To a man who can unravel her, hold her, and walk away untouched. That's why she resists the nice guy who makes her feel calm, but not challenged. Why she ghosts the consistent man who never makes her doubt. Why she stays up thinking about the one who never texted back. Because the feminine is chaos. It flows, it moves, it wants to be contained, but not controlled. And the only thing that can contain chaos is stillness wrapped in danger. The man who does not react, but who holds space so deeply that her emotional waves break on the shore of his presence. Masculine darkness is misunderstood. It is not cruelty. It is not abuse. It is not indifference. It is depth. Depth that feels like falling, like being seen so completely that she can no longer perform. Depth that silences her noise, not because he forces it, but because he penetrates through it. This is why she trembles around certain men, why her breath quickens, why her voice lowers, because she feels something she can't name but can't walk away from. Every woman deep down wants to surrender, not her power, not her independence, but her mask. She wants to stop performing, stop being on, stop explaining. She wants to be felt, not fixed, held, not healed. And the man who sees through her facade without judging it, who holds her darkness without absorbing it, becomes the only man who earns her surrender. This is the polarity. She submits not out of weakness, but because she feels safer with him than she does in control. He is not her therapist. He is not her rescuer. He is not her project. He is her mirror, the reflection of her deepest desire, to be seen without needing to speak, to be broken open, not shattered, but softened. That is what masculine darkness does. It creates emotional gravity. She can orbit 1,000 men, but one look from him, and she forgets the rest. Not because of what he says, but because of what he doesn't need to say. His silence is full. His energy speaks. His eyes don't beg, they command. And her body, her breath, her nervous system respond. To embody this, You must stop fearing your own edge. Stop hiding your desire. Stop pretending to be nice to be accepted. Your power is not in being predictable. It's in being unapologetically whole. This doesn't mean harming. It means holding. It means standing so firmly in your center that nothing she does can shake you. It means becoming the mountain to her storm, the frame to her emotion, the depth to her fire. She's not afraid of you. She's afraid of how much she wants to be seen, to be taken, to be undone by a man who doesn't flinch when she shows her full feminine chaos. And when she feels that power, that calm, that danger, she doesn't just submit. She remembers who she is, because you reminded her who she was never able to be before. Unguarded. Number 4. Sexual power is not performance. It's presence, tension, and control. You've been lied to about what makes a man sexually powerful. You've been told it's about technique, about confidence in bed, about knowing the right words to say, or the perfect moment to make a move. But all of that is surface level. Real sexual power has nothing to do with what you do. It has everything to do with who you are being, before a single word is spoken or a single touch is made. Presence is the starting point of sexual power. It's the stillness you bring into every moment. It's the calm that makes her nervous, the intensity that makes her forget what she was saying, the unspoken weight that surrounds you like a field. A man in his sexual power doesn't fidget. He doesn't chase. He doesn't try. He simply is, fully aware, deeply grounded, and completely focused, not on outcome, but on the moment. This is why she feels turned on even before you touch her, because you're not scattered. You're not in your head. You're in your body, in your breath, in your space. And when a woman feels that, a man who's fully present without needing anything, her body responds instinctively. Not because you activated her with lines or moves, but because you became the container for her unfolding. Tension is the second pillar. Not tension as in stress, tension as in unbroken energy, the ability to hold eye contact without looking away, the ability to hear her speak and feel her fully, without trying to fix or rush to solutions, the ability to pause, breathe, and create silence that stretches the moment, rather than fills it. Most men break this tension immediately. They move too fast, they fumble, they perform. But the man with sexual power knows the longer the tension is held, the deeper the surrender becomes. Because her desire builds in mystery, in slowness, in not knowing what comes next. The feminine thrives in the unknown. And if you can lead her there, not through chaos, but through controlled power, she will feel something rare. She will feel guided, not in her mind, in her body. This is where control enters, not control as in domination or force, control as in emotional leadership. You control the tempo. You decide the pace. You read her breath, her hesitation, her cues, and you guide, without words, into a space where she doesn't have to lead. Because you already are. That is safety. That is seduction. That is why women submit not to performance, but to presence. When a man is in this energy, she doesn't ask for reassurance. She doesn't test. She doesn't overanalyze. She sinks. Not because he did something clever, but because he became someone rare. A man who doesn't need sex to feel powerful, but who makes sex powerful simply by how he leads the energy of the moment. To develop this energy, stop chasing performance. Stop watching tutorials about moves and secrets. Start mastering your own nervous system, your breath, your ability to stay grounded under pressure, your clarity in the face of emotion, your stillness when everyone else reacts, because the man who leads with presence, tension, and control doesn't ask for desire. He awakens it. Number 5. Her fantasy isn't about romance. It's about risk. You've been led to believe that women dream of romance. Flowers, slow dinners, sweet words under moonlight. But this is only the surface. Her deepest fantasies, often hidden even from herself, are not rooted in safety. They're rooted in risk. Emotional risk, psychological risk, erotic risk. Not danger in the physical sense, but the risk of surrendering control. Romance is predictable. It follows a script. But fantasy is alive. It breaks the script. It introduces the unknown, and it's in that unknown that her desire awakens. The man who triggers her fantasies is not the one who gives her what she expects. It's the one who sees what she hides, who says what others won't, who doesn't need her comfort, but who stirs her chaos. Why? Because fantasy is the realm of emotional intensity, and emotional intensity requires tension. That tension is born from masculine unpredictability, not in behavior, but in depth. When you're fully present and fully in control of yourself, she no longer knows how to manage you. You're not giving her the usual emotional clues. You're not chasing. You're not over-explaining. You're not flinching. In that moment, her body begins to lean in. Her heart races, not from fear, but from fascination. She wonders what you'll do next, what you'll say, if you'll take her, if you'll walk away, if you want her, or if you're simply enjoying your own presence. This is the emotional turbulence she secretly craves. It's not trauma, it's polarity, the dance between surrender and control. When a woman daydreams, she doesn't see herself walking down the aisle. She sees herself being taken, being seen, being handled, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, by a man who can match the chaos inside her without becoming chaotic himself. A man who can touch her in ways she didn't know she wanted to be touched. Speak to her in ways that bypass her brain and go straight to her soul. This is not a fantasy built on words. It's a fantasy built on energy. She wants to feel the edge of his calm and the heat of his restraint. The danger of being around a man who doesn't need her, but could devour her with one command. That's the fantasy. It's not love. It's not comfort. It's full-body surrender to a force stronger than her thinking mind. Most men will never give her this, because most men are afraid to be that powerful. They water themselves down. They ask for permission. They try to play it safe. But the man she craves doesn't ask. He leads. He doesn't explain his energy, he embodies it. And in doing so, he touches parts of her that no compliment ever could. Her fantasy is not to be loved by a man she controls. It's to be opened by a man she cannot predict. A man who can make her feel more of herself. Not through romance, but through risk. Because that's where she comes alive. That's where her walls fall. That's where her deepest desire lives. Not to be chosen, but to be claimed. Number 6. Why the man who walks away. First always wins. Most men are afraid to walk away. They believe leaving means losing. They think that staying, no matter how misaligned, how disrespected, how emotionally imbalanced, is the mark of strength. But here's the truth. Walking away is the highest form of masculine self-respect. And the man who walks first, when needed, is the man who always wins in the long run. Why? Because walking away isn't about escape. It's about frame. Your frame is your energetic boundary. It's the space you hold that says, this is who I am. This is how I lead. And this is what I will and will not accept. Most men collapse that frame the moment a woman shows disapproval. They chase, they beg, they adjust, they compromise, and in doing so, they trade power for possibility. But the man who can walk away holds something much deeper: non-attachment. This is not detachment. He doesn't pretend not to care. He just doesn't build his worth on her reaction. He stays while it's aligned. He gives while it's respected. He leads while it's received. But the moment it becomes a game, a test, or a power struggle, he leaves. Not in anger, in clarity. This is why women respect men who walk away, because most men won't. Most men are so afraid of being alone that they'll tolerate emotional chaos. They'll overextend. They'll betray their own standards just to keep the illusion of connection. But not the man in his frame. He would rather be alone than small. He would rather be sovereign than surrounded. He would rather lead himself than be led by emotional instability. And here's what happens when you walk away first. She feels it, not as punishment, not as control, but as truth. She realizes you were not bluffing, that your standards were not just talk, that your energy is not available to those who can't rise to meet it. And often, when it's real, she follows. Because feminine energy is drawn to certainty, and walking away, when aligned, is the highest signal of it. This doesn't mean you play games. It means you never abandon yourself for connection. You don't chase what doesn't reciprocate. You don't prove your worth. You don't lower your frequency to match dysfunction. You rise. And if she doesn't rise with you, you go alone. The man who walks away doesn't lose love. He filters it. He filters chaos. He filters weakness. He filters everything that is not rooted in mutual respect and emotional alignment. And in that filtering, he becomes more powerful, more magnetic, more grounded. Because the man who walks away first is not reacting. He's leading. He's not running. He's choosing. He's not punishing. He's preserving his mission. That is the ultimate win. Not keeping her, but keeping yourself. Lastly, becoming the man she can't walk away from. You've now seen what truly makes a man irresistible, not just attractive, not just liked, but undeniable. It isn't flowers. It isn't long texts. It isn't emotional labor or sacrifices she never asked for. It's your energy, your presence, your unshakable clarity. It's who you become when you stop performing, stop pleasing, and start leading with power. Every chapter has broken down the illusion of modern romance and rebuilt the masculine from the inside out. You now understand why she craves the man who could destroy her, but doesn't. Why she surrenders not to safety, but to intensity. Why her deepest fantasies are not about comfort, but about the thrill of being fully seen and emotionally claimed. You now carry the blueprint of the Playboy Stoic, the man who leads with silence, stands firm in mystery, holds space with depth, and never needs her to complete him. She feels your wholeness, and because she feels it, she wants to be near it, from the first moment of tension, to the heat of presence, to the final choice to walk away when the energy no longer serves. You have become the standard. Not because you needed her, but because you remembered yourself. And in that remembering, she remembered what it feels like to be with a real man. You don't beg, you don't chase, you don't fold, you stay, you breathe, you lead. And for that, she will never forget you. If you've watched this to the end, you're not average, you're not asleep. You're not another man blaming women for what he doesn't yet understand. You're building presence. You're stepping into clarity. You are becoming unshakable. Comment unstoppable below if this message hit your core. Let me know you're one of the few, because I make this content for you. Subscribe to this channel to keep growing your masculine edge, your inner truth, your leadership. Share this video with one man who needs to wake up. Like this video to show YouTube what kind of truth needs to be amplified. Supporting this channel supports every man who's ready to rise, but doesn't know how yet. Together we are building a new kind of man, stoic, grounded, dangerous in peace. This is just the beginning. Stay firm, stay deep, stay unstoppable.